Inayat Wadi. It's definitely a very insightful morning. We have loads of things to look forward to, so do join us. If you've just come on, welcome. A very good morning to you. We're all just finding our way through the day. As you can see, I seem to be stumbling on my words. I'm so excited about my guests here. There's a lot going to be happening, and we're going to be enticing you into better spaces, should we say, as far as making you understand that irrespective of the challenges we have, there are ways to get over it. First on the line, we have Professor Bibi Senokwane, and he comes out of the company called the Academic and Professional Staff Association, and he's going to be talking to us about the implications of lockdown level 3. A very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you and the listeners. And actually, I'm from a trade union called the Academic and Professional Staff Association, but I'm also an associate professor at the University of South Africa.
Okay, that's very interesting to know. It's so nice to see you joining us this morning. Thank you so much for taking the time out to join us on News and Views, and of course, educate us about the different things going on around us. And I think everybody was expecting level 2, and then President Cyril Ramaphosa announced level 3. But I think it's something that was needed due to the amount of cases that have increased and the dire situation that we're in at the moment. What are these implications of lockdown level 3?
Look, I think my expectation was that it could have gone even harder in as far as stage 4 is concerned. That from my personal observation and view, I had that in mind, but he had gone for level 3, even above that adjusted, meaning that he has actually disregarded the previous stricter regulation that were implicated in the previous stage 3. But what is very interesting is that, in this flexibility, he has decided, therefore, to emphasize on specific areas meaning geographical areas, but above that, in as far as certain spaces of life and business are concerned, not necessarily everything. And alcohol has become the major concentration in this particular stage 3 lockdown.
Yes, and I think it's important to have, shed light on that better, because as we know, the hospitals are so overflowing at this moment in time. There's no capacity left for any more people that are actually going to get sick with COVID-19.
Yes, we know that our country is left behind. It's far behind in as far as our capacity as hospitals are concerned, as private clinics are concerned, or clinics in general are concerned. If one has to use our experiences even before COVID or lockdown came, we were already having lack of capacity. The only difference that we had is that we were never pushed or forced, all of us at once, at least to make use or utilize those facilities. But what COVID has done, it has pushed us to the maximum. It has exposed us and showed us that we do not have enough capacity as far as our health care spaces are concerned. And that should raise eyebrows moving forward to make sure that at least hospitals and clinics that are able to attend emergencies are available in every location, in every village, and at least within farms, there must be mobile clinics that are provided to make sure that people are able to access health facilities. And I will make an example. I'm currently in a small town called Hertzogville in the Free State where I was born. There is no hospital here. The nearest hospital will be in Hoopstad, which will give you about 50 kilometers, or in Krigana, that gives you 42 kilometers. And meaning, this is not the only town. Even Bielefeld doesn't have a surrounding place in the municipality in Bosho. All of them, we must either go to Bloemfontein, Kimberley, Hoopstad, Christiana, meaning the population of Hertzogville and other surroundings go to other hospitals. They are dependent on them. By implication, therefore, we overload those health facilities or the hospitals within our space.
And I think it's a very difficult situation to be in because, having to travel so far and the patient is so ill is a very serious problem. So, as you were saying, looking at those mobile clinics, I think that's where they need to be rolled out, literally into the rural areas where people have absolutely no access to that healthcare.
Yes, that is correct. We'll have to come with that model of facilitating temporarily mobile clinics. But in the long run, we must look in the issue of permanency where every town has either a hospital or a clinic that is equivalent to the capacity of a hospital that can attend to serious emergencies. Because what we've seen now, the clinics that we have, they are only having certain capacity. They might not even have even a single doctor within themselves. That's the point number one. But point number two, clinics that we have are only operating within certain hours and not after certain hours. So what we need to do is that we must see clinics that operate the same as hospital, 24 hours, where our people can go for any emergency, and at least there will be a doctor or doctors allocated in those particular clinics, being it mobile or not, but we know that there will be a necessary attention provided to our people. So this is a serious exposure to ourselves, showing us that will not be able to access what we need in as far as the health facilities are concerned.
Professor, this situation has been there already. And I think these particular lockdowns and this virus has just shed a lot more light on the situations and the plights of the people in these particular areas.
Yes, correct. That's where our government, I think, since I will speak of after 1994, from 1994, because if we speak before apartheid, it is obvious that our ex-people were not looked after; they were excluded in all spheres of life and participation in that. But since 1994, I think we failed in trying to build a type of environment for the citizens of this country. In as far as the people excluded in the small towns, in villages, in farms, we should have come with a method of making sure that we develop those places. But what we've done instead is that we've used the same town planning strategy that was used by the apartheid government and excluded the people who are in need of those particular facilities. Because in towns or in cities, especially metros, we've seen that the government has, improved very much, but at the expense of those who are sitting at towns, small towns, at villages and in farms. And I think that's where we need to expand, because if each and every town and village had its own clinic with doctors or at least hospitals to those who are nearby, we wouldn't be speaking of the lack of capacity now, because all the places would have been catered for. Yes. So that's where the problem is now.
Yeah,
but
no,
above that,
I totally agree with you there. I mean, because the thing is, like you say, that there's an overflow, and if each little rural area had something to deal with, it wouldn't have been as bad, because now people are having to come to the towns to be able to actually get that necessary healthcare. I think another important situation would be, the accessibility to water. And I think that's one of the bigger problems as well, because we talk about the hygiene factor, but how much of access do the people in those areas have actually to that clean water?
Yes, you see, it's very interesting that yesterday I was in Welkom, and Welkom is one of the cities in the Free State. But they were telling me that they had shortage of water, lack of water this past few weeks. And it was very strange that if Welkom, a city that has got mines, has got serious problem in as far as water is concerned, you must ask how worse it will be those places without mines in them. Because one will assume that the economy of Welkom is far better than the villages and small towns, because it hosts mining companies or production. So if Welkom itself has that seriousness in shortages of water, it's a problem. We know even Cape Town the previous year it was reported of having a shortage of water. And one will argue that, look, there is enough water surrounding Cape Town. Why didn't we have enough strategies, ways of making sure that we utilize water surrounding Cape Town for it to access at least the residents of Western Cape. It's a question. It tells you that in terms of our planning as government, there is something serious lacking that we are not doing right. And I think that's where the problem that sometimes in government, we find people who are not well capacitated, who do not know what they are doing, working in those particular areas or spaces.
Yes. From an academic and professional staff association and the other work that you do, what do you think is the most important thing that we need to look at from this particular point of view? Because we know lockdown level 3 has, of course, shed a lot more light on situations that people are facing.
Look, the advantage with what is happening now is that at least it does not affect a lot of people in as far as what happened before. At least there's been a selection of certain. But it doesn't take away that, for an example, transportation will be affected because if you've invested in transportation of alcohol, as an example, it means therefore you'll be affected now. If you had invested in transporting staff, moving to wherever alcohol places or companies, it means your business is affected.
Yeah,
and in as far as the workers working there, also at the breweries, they will be affected for this particular 14 days period. That's the bottom line. And I think where we are, government should have become proactive already long time ago in making sure that the consumption of alcohol should have been privatized or limited into the houses already a long time. We should have used a mechanism of making sure that those who have alcohol consumption can make takeaways or drive through already there.
That's
now,
so
what we have seen happening is that we opened, and it was predictable that once you open, alcohol naturally, it's a social drink. It invites people to gather together and participate together. It becomes even worse if you open those social gatherings for them to go sit together. But I think it was going to be better if then, when we were flexing our rules to say we will only allow takeaways, no one is allowed to drink alcohol in public places or at places where people gather together, except at their own families, because we will be able to know how many people more or less sit at a particular. But one of the problems why one might not even be able to regulate the consumption of alcohol, even at our residential places, is because we have not done our work in as far as stats is concerned of knowing or identifying how many people, who are those people staying at a particular residential place.
Professor B.B. Senokwane, we're going to have to end there, but we're going to thank you for your input. It's valuable. I'm hoping that, things can change in the rural areas and people can have access to those types of things that they are missing out on, especially the water situation regarding the coronavirus. I mean, it's one of the most important things is hygiene and, of course, access to healthcare. So thank you so much for shedding light on that. And we're hoping that besides the government, all other NPOs that are listening in on us today can get in touch with you, and hopefully we can get something going on that level. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We hope you have a lovely day going forward. Take care of yourself, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. That was Professor Senokwane giving us some insight into the impacts of lockdown level 3. And of course, affecting, I think, should we say, those that are in the most unfortunate situations in the rural areas. Just shedding some light on that. We're going to go for a quick break. We'll be with us in a sec.
They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, yet many children go to